The first game on my list for part 2, to no one's surprise, is Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake. Now, outside of 3 and the originals, this was one of my favorite ones, even though I only got to the Arctic base where the shark actually jumps through and she's trying to avoid it. And otherwise, I didn't get any farther than that, unfortunately, but I still liked what I played. Of course, Claire is basically Luigi, and this is Mario is missing, except Chris is Mario. But we have to keep finding him, but at least she does in this game, where in 2, no dice. So I don't remember this happening in the original Code Veronica, so I'm wondering if they're going to add like a bunch of different stuff, or if this is more just for advertisement purposes. But I want to know how many of the offshoot games they are actually going to redo, because it could be interesting to see what they decide in regards to like some of the older ones, like the ones that are rail shooters, or even the one that's on Game Boy Color that had Barry on the cruise ship. I would love that one redone entirely with modern graphics and controls and everything. I think that would be such a neat idea. One of the best things about this game is that it's made by the same team that did Resident Evil 2 Remake and 4, and we're not seeing anything else so far from the people who did the 3 Remake that broke my heart. One of the things I want to see the most with this is what they did with the twins, who are the villains in this game. They are very sadistic, and Alfred, or whatever his name is, Albert, whatever, he actually was losing his mind more and more as time went on without his sister. So it would be really fascinating to see if they did anything different with him, or if they added a little more depravity or nuance to it. When they showed the dragonfly with the ants surrounding it, it's because they would pull off the wings of a dragonfly and feed it to the ants. So they're sick puppies. But again, if you're being hurt by Umbrella, of course you're not going to be exactly the most well-adjusted people ever. But yeah, I can't wait for this one, and I really hope they did it justice. And I can't wait for 5 and 6, because then we get to multiplayer. Next up is a cozy game called Froggy Brews. There are a lot of cozy games lately with frogs, but this one looks really adorable. Again, you run your own little shop and learn about people and things, but this right here with the puzzles with different ingredients reminds me of another cozy game that I really loved called Potion Permit. So I really love seeing that in more games. That combination of like really sweet life sim with puzzle elements. And I just think this is such a really cute idea, and getting to know like the villagers and what they need, and the art style is just so cool and cute. I'm really looking forward to playing this one, and it looks big enough to read, so I don't think I have to be scared of that, at least. And I love the idea of exploration and what this could be, because there looks to be a deeper story. So I definitely want to try this one. We'll see how it goes. If I do, I will let you know. Next, we have Muramasa Revenant Blade, which apparently was already put out on the original Wii back in the day, but Husby and I somehow missed this. I've never played any of the games in this series, so I can't tell you what the story is like or anything, but I love the art style of this and the side-scrolling action. The fact that there are a bunch of different characters you can potentially use, and the fact that they have all these different skills seems to be an amazing thing for me, and I love that in this kind of genre. I'm not sure how I'm going to get along with it, because there's no telling how I will react to certain story elements, but they have an amazing skill tree, and it just looks like a really fun time overall. So I'm going to give it a go, especially if people who already played the original say that this is a good remake. You're probably thinking to yourself, oh no, Chaluka, another witch game? And yes, Shelpers, exactly, but this is a 3D platformer witch game, which I haven't seen very much of. It looks really adorable, and it looks like you can do tricks in the air or explore different lands, and I just thought, this is something I have to try. Look at this. Look at how they spin and twirl, and it might not be anything different for 3D platformers, but it looks like it might be, and that's what's keeping me going with this whole idea. So maybe I'll try the demo. Let me know if you want to see it. Here is a game I would love to play, but I'm never going to get through. It's the new Castlevania Belmont's Curse. And looking at it, the art style is absolutely gorgeous. It has all the hallmarks you want in a Metroidvania game, including a convoluted map I'm going to get lost in on my first like 20 minutes. But a lot of the skills in this game that she has look a lot like another game we play a lot called Astral Ascent, and I'm living for it. I absolutely love that game, so anything that kind of gives me like little bits and pieces of it, I'm dying to try it. One of the things I wish they had is multiplayer, not just because of Just being my seeing eye penguin and getting me through the convoluted map, but also the fact that he could probably get me through some of these tougher enemies. So I'm probably going to rent it if we get the opportunity in the future, if it even comes out on physical disc, because who knows what's coming out on physical anymore now that they're getting rid of it all. But it looks so gorgeous, and it has all the hallmarks of this series, and I just can't imagine being somebody who loves these kind of games and looking at it and going, I'll pass. So I will try very much to at least get somewhere in this game and then let you know how I like it if I can get my hands on it. This was an unexpected game for me, because no one knew it was coming out. So this is Magicians the Devil's Deal. It didn't come out of nowhere. The story is actually based off of Eastern European folklore, where the devil has some type of school where all the initiates go in and they have to agree on one person to sacrifice, and then the people who survive get a bunch of different magic or their wishes granted or something like that. Bram Stoker, when he wrote Dracula, said that Vlad was actually one of the people who went to the devil's school. I don't think he was the one sacrificed, because I'm not sure if the one sacrificed comes back from the dead to like deal with the other ones, kind of like this seems to be making you think. But I love the idea that video games are starting to take from folklore other than Norse and Greek mythologies and giving us stories that haven't really been westernized or given to us in a way that it all becomes kind of cliche. Like, you look at it and go, oh, there's like Medusa and whatnot. This is a whole different thing I've never seen before. And I love magicians, so this is also up my alley. One of the things I'm not quite sure about for me personally is that it's a first-person game, and that's a little harder for me to kind of deal with because it's just not something I'm used to. But I'm sure given some time I can acclimate to it, as long as they keep like the captions and everything as big as you see here. I should be fine to see it. And I'm really enjoying the idea of trying to get revenge on people, but I wonder what the devil really has in store. Did he not want to give the power he promised to the 5 other people? Is he going to just like damn Jacob's soul even more? I don't know where the story is going to go. This part right here with the like sectioned off parts of the world reminded me of a section in Salt and Midnight even. So I'm really loving this kind of like aesthetic they have going on here. And I love the idea of using different magic tricks to help him get through everything the devil or his enemies have in store. One of the games I'm most looking forward to whatever year it comes out is My Time at Evershine. I love the My Time series. I played the first 2 where you're a builder and you come into town and you change things up. The first game was good, the second game was amazing, and it even came with a whole separate multiplayer mode that wasn't the story, but you could actually go through it with your friends. This game, apparently, you are a governor building in the wilds, and it takes place like 3 years after Sandrock. So I'm hoping because you're governor, you can make more decisions where you couldn't actually do it before. You just had to go along with whatever people needed or wanted from you. And you can do the full thing as a multiplayer. So you're not locked out of the story if you want to play with, say, your husband, your friends, whatever. And one of the greatest things about this franchise is that there is a whole interconnecting story with like old world technology and rebellions and wars and all that kind of stuff. And it just feels like an entirely lively world where you just end up in different towns and different times in the whole history of this world. And it's really cool. I can't wait to see what they do with this one. The art style is a huge departure from Sandrock, and I'm not sure if I'm digging it, but so far it still looks great and I'm still excited for it. I can't go through the summer games without mentioning the sequel to Cuphead. The long-awaited sequel to Cuphead is coming, as well as a pixelated adventure game they're going to put on some kind of cartridge mayhap, but I don't have too many details about that. But it's painstakingly hand-drawn, so it's going to probably take them a very long time, and the game, like the first one, is going to probably be on the shorter side, which nobody really seemed to mind because it was so amazing and so successful that it actually had a Netflix series. I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with it, though, because who do you fight after you fought the devil? Is the devil going to come back? Are you fighting God? Is there going to be just more like cartoon bosses that get in the way? I'm very curious as to where they're going to take it, because where do you go after fighting like the greatest evil of all time, technically? So I loved the game. I never got through it myself, even with husband's help, because I'm just not that good at it. Even using the homing leaf shot, I just couldn't. But I absolutely adored the game when it came out. There have been a lot of people who've been trying to make games that have like the cartoony graphics because of it, but accept no substitutes. I'm really excited to see this game, even if I won't be able to actually win anything myself. But yeah, I'm totally looking forward to it. Want to see it. Hopefully I can at least get my hands on it and play through a level or two before I get stuck. The last game is a little indie on Steam called Hawker. It's a top-down, which you all know I adore. And during the day, he goes adventuring and figures things out in the world. And at night, he actually runs his own business. And I think that combination, like Dave the Diver, is just so cool. You get to learn what's happening in the world and why he's doing what he's doing, and it seems really amazing. But not just the roguelike perks, just the whole thing in general really gets my blood pumping. Unfortunately, there is a downside to this game. You seem to be timed in the number of days before you have to finish repaying your debt or fail. And I think fail might be game over, kind of like the one Zelda game with the moon that's gonna like crash into the earth. So I'm not really a fan of timed games, but I still want to give it a go. We'll see. Shelpers, this concludes my coverage of the Summer Games Fest. Sometimes I think about doing like a roundup of every like season of the games that I think are interesting, but it's more simple to do it in the summer than any other time, so I very much doubt I'll get to. As always, if any of these games use AI in their creation, I do not recommend them. I will not play them. And before we go, one last note. Undead Labs at Xbox, along with many of their other studios, is on the chopping block. So State of Decay 3, one of my most wanted games of the entire year it comes out, might not be coming out at all. It seems like a good portion of Xbox's entire fucking showcase was merely to give investors or buyers something to chew over and not something for us players to get excited about. And I am so unbelievably angry about that. The FTC really needs to investigate them for things like false advertising and lying, because when they bought the company that does Call of Duty, they said they would not raise prices on us. They said they would not get rid of their other studios under them, and they're doing everything. The 4 studios that seem to be left, or the 4 franchises, seem to be COD, Forza, Gears, and Halo, and that's it. They don't care about anything else. No matter how good it does, no matter how many awards it wins, they don't care about anything but those 4. So fuck Microsoft on this one, and if they get rid of Undead Labs and the 3rd game does not come out for State of Decay, I am going to just be so unbelievably livid, and I am not the only fan. So I appreciate you listening to me ramble.